Welcome to Amberg Acres. So our project for this week is we're trying to get some of these trees cleared out here next to the barn. This is the south side of the barn. And you're probably asking, why didn't I do this before we built the barn? Well, I ran out of time, basically, is what it was. I cleared this out. I took the farmhouse down and I cleared this area out. I scraped the topsoil off, and that was about all I could get done before we went on our vacation. So when I got back from vacation, I was kind of in a rush. I got to get the barn up and the roof on, so that's what we did. The whole winter long, I've been meaning to get at these trees and get these trees knocked down. I just never got to it. So I'm finally getting to it. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pull this kind of a group here. There's three of them. Actually, it's one with two trunks and then a third trunk there. It's all kind of grown together. I'm trying to get that whole trunk and root system out all at once. So I dug out this side with the backhoe, and now I got it hooked up to the tractor and I'm pulling it over. But what the issue I'm having is I'm hitting some of these other trees, these little ones behind it. So I'm going to go up there, I'm going to go in there and cut those little ones so they fall over with it, and then all I got to do is dig out the little stumps. Those little ones are probably 4 inches only. I got 1, 2, yeah, there's maybe 3 of them I got to cut to try and get this bigger piece down. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to flatten this side out here. I want at least 10 feet of flat coming off the barn so that I can put my implements and that type of stuff over here on this side of the barn. And then I'm trying to make a little swale. And let me show you what I'm doing here. So right here where I'm standing is going to be the low spot. So I want this to pitch down, at least at 10 feet, and then a little bit of a low spot, and then it kind of goes back uphill a little bit there. And what that's going to do is that's going to make the water fill in over here and stay away from the barn. And I'm going to do that all the way along this way and all the way along here. It's probably going to go where these poles are sitting over here on this side of that bigger tree. I'm going to leave that bigger tree. These 2 smaller ones are probably going to come down so that I can smooth that all out real nice. And that's my plan. So this may take me more than a week or so to do this, but that is my plan, is to get this down. So the next thing is gravel. Put a layer of stone down in here. So I want to put a layer of stone down in here, but I haven't done that, and I have the other side already finished over there, ready for the stone. I haven't done that yet because we've kind of run out of money for this year. And that brings me to my next thing that I want to talk about, okay? So what I want to talk about is retiring early. So we retired at 62. I was 62 when I retired. And if you retire at an early age, you have to buy your own insurance. So the one thing that I did not know, and this is going to be my tip for the year for you guys that want to retire early. The thing that I did not know was that when I draw out of my 401k, and the 401ks were great. I started putting money in the 401k back in the 1980s already. So without that, I wouldn't have any money right now. Probably I'd be flat broke, living under a rock or something. So it was a good thing, But the way it's set up is if I draw money out of that 401k, it goes down as income. Okay. The problem with having income when you're retired is that goes against your insurance premiums for your health insurance. So last year when I went in and had that shoulder surgery, we were on a much better insurance plan, because all I claimed for last year was my Social Security check, and my wife was not collecting at the time, because she's 2 years younger than me, so she wasn't collecting. She started collecting this year. But the point I'm getting at is I had a low income last year, so I was able to get really good insurance at a really cheap rate. So this year now, she's claiming Social Security. Plus we took out a draw to do the concrete in the barn. And that put us in another category where our insurance premiums quadrupled, okay, because they took out that draw. So our insurance premiums quadrupled. We had to take a much higher, I don't know if you want to call it higher risk, but higher out of pocket and a higher deductible is what it was, that we had to do insurance to try and get the rates down a little lower, and we're still at 4 times more than we were paying last year for the insurance. So that's my tip for you guys. If you're still working and you're getting insurance from your employer, try and take some of that money out of that 401k and transfer it. I believe you can start moving money at 59 and a half years old. So try and transfer that into something else where, yes, you're going to have to pay taxes. It's going to come out as income. So, say you take 10 grand this year and put it in a different account, okay? That's going to add to your income for the year, but you're working yet. So you can cover some of those costs. You have insurance through your employer, right? Hopefully. So that way, when you get to retirement, if you're going to retire early, you can use that money to do a draw, say to do the concrete in a barn, and it will not go as income because you already took it out as income. All right? I hope that makes sense. So that's my tip for this year for you guys. If anybody's going to retire early, that's the one. If I made one mistake, that was it. I should have took some of that money out ahead of time while I was still working and collecting health insurance through my employer, because that is the killer. If you're living on, somewhat of a fixed income here now that we're retired. That's why I haven't bought any gravel, because we're kind of out of money for this year. So we'll see what next year brings. We'll see if we can draw some money out and get some stone brought in here and fill this in. For this year, I'm doing what I can do with the tractor and get everything ready so that in spring I can just hopefully order some stone and get this all filled in and make this all look nice. So if you're wondering why the project isn't continuing, that is why, okay? And I have all that wood cut up back there, right, that we cut up back in January and February, March. So all winter long, or whenever I can get to it, I can start building walls inside the barn here, and that'll keep me busy for a while. I got all that siding cut. Remember, I cut all that siding, so I got all that stuff to do to keep me busy for a while. That isn't going to cost me nothing except for nails and screws, right? Hopefully. If you're wondering why this hasn't progressed the way you thought it might be progressing, that is why. We're going to get these trees down. I got to go make a few cuts back in here. So let me get going over here, get the saw started. I'm going to just take a cut on that tree back there. So I'm looking at this one right here, I think is the one that it's hanging up on. Yeah, that grayish colored one right there, that dark gray one. That's what it looks like to me. So we're going to get that one cut and see what happens. Well, as always, I got the chain stuck. All right, so I have the tractor right there on the other side of those trees, and I'm just gonna pull this over. So you watch this root ball here. It should just go over now. Is it moving? Feels like it's still hung up there on something, but I can't really. I got those 3 trees right behind it cut, so it should go. Unless it's hung up on that other branch there yet. They're all cut free. So it could just be this other root here holding me up a little bit. Of this skinnier little 5 or 6 inch tree right next to it here. But I got that all dug out under there, so that should just come along with it. I've got enough tension on that should just fall right over. Alright, I'm going to try moving the tractor and kind of pulling it the other direction there to my right, because there's nothing there holding it up. So maybe if I pull it to the right, the rest of this will go. So I think that other root there was holding us up a little bit also. But once I moved that tractor and pulled it away from that other tree there, that it was kind of hung up on the top there, I think. And then it slid off and went down. So I'm going to dig a little bit here, right under this other root, and get that other piece to fall. All right, that's what I'm going to try and do. I got that pretty loose. So I think some of this over here where these 2 dead ones are, that's holding me up a little bit for that whole root ball, you know, with the move. So I think I'm just going to cut these 2 trunks off here and let's see if that one falls by itself, and then cut the other one, and then that root ball will be by itself. I won't have the tree attached to it anymore. Alright, so now we're disconnected from the tree. So now I can maybe get in here, roll that stump out a little bit. You know, get on this side where these 2 dead ones are. Roll that, and I'm just going to keep working that way and try and get this big hump out of here. Once I get that hump out of there, I think that'll be easy sailing. That's all roots. That's all roots. This was all trees here. I mean, I did push a couple over when I flattened this area for the barn, but yeah, that's all roots and stumps in there. And we'll get over to that other big one, and then we'll start there with that one and pull that one down. So if you never used one of these little backhoes on a tractor, the strength is in the curl. The curl has the most power. So when you get that bucket there and you got to get hooked underneath something and curl it back, that's where your power is. Lifting, it doesn't really have a whole lot of power. So you gotta know that in your head, and that's how you have to attack a stump. The other thing is, I always put it in to the higher gear when I park it here to do the backhoe. That way I don't have to jump off. I can use the backhoe itself to either push me away from the stump or pull me back into the stump, because it'll move a little freer on the high gear than if I put it in low gear. I can't move it. You know, you get what I'm saying? Even though it's in neutral, or supposedly in neutral, I do have a neutral on the gearbox I could put it in, but then you have no resistance at all. You're only holding it with the pad. If you leave it in gear, at least you have a little bit of resistance, or at least that's the way it seems. So let's see if we can get this stump out of here now. So I got one root right back there that I cannot seem to break off. That one right there is holding me in, and I can't get, because of this other tree roots, I can't get down there to bust it off. So I'm just gonna take the chainsaw and snip it, and I think this thing will just roll right out of there. Then it's the only thing that's holding me up right there, is that root. So let me go grab the chainsaw. That was holding it, and one little root. That's all it takes. That's what I call a cluster. If you remember last year when I cut those red pines down and I dug up that one stump, it was a very similar root ball on the bottom. And I call it a cluster because it's a whole bunch of little roots just all in a pile. And depending on where it's growing, you know, sometimes they can spread out a little more. Other times they're all just more compact, and that's all that's holding that tree in. Now when you get to these oaks, yeah, that bigger one right back there, I'm not going to try and even do nothing with. That's going to stay. So that oak, that has a taproot, and the taproot goes like straight down. Those are really hard to get out because of that taproot. So you almost have to dig underneath. Like I had this one dug underneath, so I knew it was loose. You have to dig underneath, and then you have to get in there and cut that taproot, and then that tree will go right over, just like this one did. But as long as that taproot is in there, you're kind of screwed. You can't get it out. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go snip off these couple of little ones in here yet, and then I'm going to push these out next two down. I got this this dead, I don't know what it is, a spruce. Looks like a spruce. This dead spruce should push right over. And I'm going to clean up some of these trunks and stuff quick. And then when I get to this other tree, we'll start filming again. All right? All right, well that went pretty good. We're almost up to these other two trees. I think this dead one right here. Oh, can you see that all? Yeah. I think this dead one right here, that'll just push that way and hopefully it takes that little one with it. I'll dig around. Once I get closer, I'll dig around it a little bit. That pine tree was dead. I just hit it with the tractor a little bit and it fell right over. Didn't have to dig it out or nothing. It just popped right out. And that's usually the way the pines are. The pines have a very shallow root system. They just have 3 or 4 or 5, whatever, big roots coming out the sides. And when that tree dies, those roots rot, and then that just pushes right over. So that was nothing. So I just got to get this hump out of here yet and get up to this tree here so I can get that one to go over the top there. And then I got this one stump here. I cut this one down last year, so I got to get that stump dug out also, and then we should be clear sailing after that. Alright guys, time to cowboy up. See how good you are lassoing a tree. I want to get over that top branch up there. Can you see that one? Right there. I want to get right through that crotch right there. I don't know if my rope is long enough. Oh, way sharp. Well, maybe that one's wishful thinking, huh? Or I'm trying too hard. Hey, I give up on that one. Let's try for the lower one here. Want to see this knot I tie for getting this rope, this heavy rope over the branches. You can go watch my video from last year when I cut the trees down in the front yard. So basically it's a noose knot on the rope, and then when I get the big one around, then I do a bow line, which makes it easy to come apart again after the tree is down. All right, let me go get the tractor hooked up and I'll be back. So I got on the tractor and I barely tightened up the rope and that thing started coming over. So I didn't have the camera rolling. So now I'm up on top of the apple tree there. I'm gonna reposition the tractor and we'll pull it off of that. We'll pull it off of that tree there. But that one rolled out of there way easier than the other one. I think it's just because that other one had that double stump, and that made that not want to roll so easy. But this one that was nothing. I guess we'll do a little slicing and dicing, get some of this stuff out of my way, and then I got to finish digging out that other stump there. And once I got that out of there, there's a big stump right in the middle over there that it's a big white pine that got cut down. I bet you that's 15 years ago when we had all the other stuff cut around here. The guy down the street here, Steve Matson, came over and cut down a whole bunch of stuff for us. That stump is left over from that. There's one out here in the front, right where they put the electrical line through. They dug through part of it, the roots. So I don't know, well, when I get to that one, I don't know what I'm gonna do. If I'm gonna just leave it there, I might just leave it there, because it's too big for my tractor to bust those roots. If I cut it in quarters, we did the one on the side of the garage there back in spring. And if I cut it in quarters and I wreck a chain on my chainsaw, yeah, I can probably bust it out of there. But we'll see when I get that far, see how ambitious I am to get that out of there or not. Right now, that stump is not in my way of what I want to do here. Okay? As long as I can smooth this out so that the water runs down the hill over here, you know, I gotta get that water to go that way down that hill. As long as I can smooth this all out here and gradually slope it out that way, we'll be good to go. Well, I'm gonna get some cutting done yet today. Okay guys, welcome back. It's another day. So I got this all cleaned up behind me here. All these trees that we took down the other day. They're all laying over there in piles. I cut them to 84 inches, 7 feet. And the reason I do that, and I've explained this before in other videos, the 7 feet is the length of my logging trailer that I have over there in the wood yard. And then I just pile them in there, and then I come back and I take my saw and cut them, and that's how I get my 16 plus inch piece that I make into firewood. So this here is the stump that I am not going to try and remove. I don't know if you can see that quite on the camera there, but the roots themselves are this big around, bigger than the trees that I took down back here. So that's more than my backhoe can handle. And yes, I can, if I want to spend enough time at it, I can get that stump out. I usually quarter them up, cut them in 4 pieces, cut that stump, wreck a chain, you know, because you're digging in the dirt, and then I can usually get them out. But it takes all day to do it, you know. So I'm electing not to do that with this one here. I'm going to leave it just the way it is. I'm going to leave those 2 maples. I have 2 maples there. I'm going to leave those. I might cut this skinny one that's right here down yet. But the rest of this is just going to get cleaned up nice so I can mow it. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take this and just taper this all down and kind of blend it with that stump. So let's look here a little better here at what this looks like. So I know it's hard to see on the camera, but this is high right here and this tapers down. So I'm going to taper that smoother, flatter, so that I can almost come down it with a lawnmower and mow it. I removed some more stumps, some more trees there. I'm up to those bigger ones now, and that's where I'm going to stop. So I got a couple stumps to take out there, and I took down them ones over there, to the 2 right in front of that big one there. I took those down, so I got to get those stumps out. And I kind of changed my mind. I'm gonna go in front of that tree with my swale. I'm just gonna taper that down and make my swale over there and go out across my little driveway there. And that's how I'm gonna do it. Instead of moving all this for right now. As you can see, I got more trunks, more pieces here. That's all gonna get hauled across the street and made into firewood for camping and whatever. And I got some bigger pieces laying over there, right over there. All right, so we're gonna get to this. This is our next thing here. And we're gonna get to this shortly and get this all smoothed out, and I'll show it to you when we're done. So you're probably wondering how long this takes me to do a project like this. The first day, basically, we got all them trees down, okay? That was one day. The second day, I came and cut this all up. Got the branches hauled away, cut it all up, set all the logs wherever I left the logs lay. And then the third day I came and I cut the rest of these trees down that I felt I needed to take out. And those 2, what did I cut? 2 over there, 2 trees over there that I cut down. So we're on, 4 days already. So this will take me the rest of the day today probably just to clean up these stumps and get this somewhat smoothed out. So then my next plan, which won't be in this video, it'll be in the next video. My plan is to line this with rocks here, just like I did on the other side of the barn. I'm going to line this with some rocks here and kind of build this up so that this stays at the level that it's at with the apple orchard. And then this kind of just tapers off here in the water. The water will all run down that way, okay? If that makes any sense. So let me show you what's right here in front of me here. I put down a row of rocks. These rocks came from the land here. So I put down a row of rocks, and that comes out, that right there at that stump is about my 10 feet that I want to be out. So I'm just going to build this all up around here with more rocks, bigger, probably a little bigger rocks here along this edge, and pile them up and make like a rock wall right here along, starting at that stump and coming over. And then this is all going to get filled in with stone up to that 10 foot mark. So that's why I want this all nice and leveled and pitched a little way away from the barn. And then the rest of this here will all be kind of a ditch, sort of, you know, for the water to run in. And then it would really have to rain a lot for this to fill up to get up to where the barn is at. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So we're gonna get digging here, get this all cleaned up, and then I'm gonna show you what it looks like when we're done. Well guys, last stump ended up being the worst one. I literally have this all dug out underneath there. There's hardly nothing, there shouldn't be nothing holding that thing. And I can't budge it. So it's obviously attached to that other tree in those roots. They're all wrapped around each other there. So I'm gonna have to get in there with a something, chainsaw or something, and try busting some of that loose to get that stump out. It is not moving. The soil over here, and we noticed that when we dug the poles on the barn, that this corner back here has more rocks for whatever reason. So there's been a lot of rocks coming out from underneath that stump. But it should be loose. That thing, there shouldn't be anything holding that anymore. There's hardly nothing underneath there. I think I'll work on it tomorrow a little bit yet and see if I can get it out of there. Okay guys, I don't know how well this will show up on the camera, but it took me half a day yesterday and part of this morning to get that stump out of there. That was just entangled into that other bigger tree there. So I had to cut a couple of roots. I'm gonna take and stick a couple of boulders alongside that there, and hopefully that holds that tree up. There's plenty of roots there yet on that tree, so I don't think it's an issue, but we'll see. So I basically got this roughed in, got it pitched away from the barn. I still got a little work down there on that end there. I hit some rocks that's really hard right down there that's never been dug up before, right down there. I just gotta dig some more, and I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna turn it and go right in front of that tree right there. Okay, I'm gonna turn it right there, go in front of that tree, and then down the hill in the front there. Rest of this, I just tapered this all off here. Okay, and I'm gonna start up by the trees and just start piling some rocks, and that'll keep that from eroding when it rains heavy. And I'll pile the rocks down to about this line you see here, right there, and then all the way over to that other stump. So it'll just kind of follow this lower end here and then up the bank with rocks, and that'll keep that all from eroding and washing down. Got a little bit of smoothing out to do up on top here, and then we'll get some grass planted, and then she can mow that when she mows. And maybe, I don't know, she's already talking about putting some kind of bushes or flowers in there, whatever. So I think that's going to be it for this one. I got some fresh sand across the street I'm going to bring over. And because this stuff here is all full of roots, the stuff that I've been digging out. So I'm just going to bring over some of that good sand I got across the street there. Once I get this the way I like it, want it over there in that corner, I'm going to bring some sand and I'll smooth this all out with sand real nice. And then I'll start getting my rocks and everything. Those rocks are going to take a while because I just pick them from the property. And I know I got about probably a half a dozen over there right now that I set alongside the trail from when I was doing the other side over here in her garden area. So I know I got a bunch there. I know I got some over by the gas tank. I got them laying all over the place where I just kind of threw them off the yard into the woods a little bit. So I just got to go and round them all up and start stacking them in here. And that's going to take a while by itself. So this is it for this video. Thanks for watching. If you like these videos, give me a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. And we will catch you on the next one.